Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today with another passage I'd like to share with you. It's in I Thessalonians, which may or may not be your most favorite book. It's probably read a little more often than II Thessalonians. But let's take a look at this one. Fifth chapter of this little book, and one simple verse, verse 11. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. And here's what it says. So encourage each other and build each other up, just as you are already doing. Okay, let's start with the last and work our way forward. Just as you are already doing. Paul is talking about how the people in Thessalonica are treating each other. And it balloons past there to all places, you and me. And he says, you're doing this, keep it up. So what is it they're doing? It says to encourage each other and build each other up. Now, here's a question for you. In the last couple days, in the conversations you have had with other people, did they build them up or did they tear them down? Now, there are some people who seem to enjoy putting people down, but they're sick up here. There are psychological diagnoses for some of those folks, and none of them are positive. And I'm not talking about that person. If that's who you are, then please go get help. You're going to need it. But this is just everyday, average, run-of-the-mill people who talk about others in various ways. And is the talk encouraging or is it critical? Now, a lot of the difference between those two depends on how we were raised. If we were raised in a family that always criticized, that might be the only thing you know, which might be okay if it doesn't involve children or people you're really close to, because then it might actually destroy them. See, criticizing people, not helpful suggestions, but just raw criticism doesn't do anything. It doesn't get the person to change the behavior. It doesn't build them up so that they're better citizens. Maybe it makes you feel superior, but there's nothing positive out of it. Now, I grew up in a home where my dad didn't say a whole lot. He felt that his job was to bring in the home paycheck and do work around the house and occasionally some of the discipline that mom put on him. But my mom wasn't careful in her speech either. She did a lot of criticizing. And as I got older, I realized this wasn't a spirit of criticism. This was a critical spirit that she passed along. And it's been hard for me over the years to not let that reemerge. It's just easier to put people down. And it's just easier to say, I'm better than you are. But that's not what God wants. God wants us to feel the problems of the person and to encourage them so that they can do more. I remember my son David, who turned out to be a professional track athlete and won an Olympic gold medal. Every time he'd lose a race, I'd just say, son, you're going to beat him one day. And he never asked me directly, how did I know that? He did say sometime, well, why do you think that, Dad? Well, my answer was really a calculated answer. It was, well, because I know something about running, which I do. And I know something about how people run and whether that's helpful or not helpful to improving. And I wanted my son to believe that he could do anything, he could compete with anybody. I didn't want him to decide in his own self he wasn't good enough and quit. Well, my practice paid off. He didn't quit, and he became very, very good. And even today, he's he's got a great attitude about life. And it's because, partially anyway, of how I tried to encourage him. Now, I'd like for you to think of someone that you could encourage. We all know such people. We all know people who have trouble with being discouraged. How can you help that person to become encouraged? Well, you do it by your voice, by your presence, by your concern. You do it by agreeing to share who you are with someone who needs that help. And if you're the one who needs the help, okay, then go find somebody to strengthen you. Well, I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. You just find somebody that you know that's positive and ask them, would they help you? I'll bet you they'll say yes. And I know that God guides people this way because he wants us to lift up other people. As they say in the movies, don't be like me, be better than me. Don't settle for less. Be all that God created you to be. Be more than what you have been. And realize that God's plan for you is one to accomplish what he set forth and to encourage others to do the same. That's what he wants. And he's really good at equipping those who take up the challenge. So I hope you will today. I hope you'll find someone that needs some encouragement and go sit with them or contact them or hug them or whatever and let them know they're not alone. Well, thank you for listening. If you have a need or a concern, tell us. We can't help you if we don't know it. It's pretty simple, you'd think, but we'll help in any way that we can as quickly as we can. God bless you. I'll be back tomorrow with another message for this week.